everyone! Hello leaders! Kumusta mo? So, I miss you so much and let's continue to listen to the Word of God, be encouraged and motivated. So, I will share to you the book that I've read, The Power of Desperation, Breakthroughs in Our Brokenness. So, right now, um, in this needs of community enhanced or quarantine, because we have this coronavirus, the COVID-19. So um, the Lord is breaking us, and He will give us breakthroughs in our brokenness. So we um, we will be desperate to seek God more. So, um, my the title is Only Desperate People Get to the Point Where It's Not About Them, but it's about the Lord. Amen. It's not about you, um, but you are seeking and you are desperate enough to seek the Lord. So, um, this is a story about Bartimaeus. He is a blind man, um, and Jesus passed by where he was located, or where he was seated, and of course he's a blind man, and he heard this news that Jesus is coming, and so what he did is he shouted that of course that Jesus will stop and heal him. So okay, here it goes. So but why would Jesus stop for this Bartimaeus? So the apostles or the disciples asking, why would uh, why would Jesus stop for this Bartimaeus, for this blind man? So that's exactly what disciples wanted to know. That is um, they want to know why. The question why, they want to know why would Jesus stop for Bartimaeus. So some tried to get him to shut up, so others wanted to tell him, hey, keep quiet, shut up. So maybe at some point um, your in your situation right now, you were in your home, of course, because you're in a quarantine, and then you want to worship the Lord, you want to praise the Lord, and then others or those neighbors with you right now, or the persons with you right now, they wanted to stop you. Okay, stop. Okay, if God is real, then why would He let this happen? So maybe you have experienced that one, I don't know, but um, some tried to get him to shut up, but he shouted all the more. But what would you do if some will persecute you, or some will let you stop to worship the Lord? So what would you do? Will you shout more? Will you praise the Lord more? Will you worship the Lord more? Or you will just keep quiet and then follow them? So this is just a reminder to each one of us in the midst of this maybe we call this a wilderness or breakings in our life, especially in our relationship with the Lord, and how we serve the Lord, and how we praise the Lord. So um, you can meditate on this one, you can evaluate yourself as well. So what we do, will you shout more? So others probably told him to calm down, so because he shouted more, so others would um, tell him, calm down, what are you doing, like that maybe. But he couldn't. So he couldn't. A few must have thought, maybe a few must have thought, Jesus is a busy man with a busy schedule. So if he stops for every blind beggar, he's never going to get to Jerusalem because Jesus passed by to get to Jerusalem. But if there's a blind beggar in every street that he will pass by, if Jesus would stop, if Jesus would stop for of each one of them, how is he going to get to Jerusalem as early as he could be? But maybe that's the thinking of those of others. So they tried to tell Bartimaeus to be quiet, but they couldn't stop him or shut him up. They couldn't. He was a desperate man. How about you? Are you desperate enough that the Lord will the Lord will intervene in this need of quarantine or this virus that is around the world? Or are you desperate enough in your situation right now? You don't have anything to eat, or maybe if you're watching right now and you are a positive or you are um, COVID-19 patients or infected with the coronavirus, well, I tell you, maybe um, if you are desperate enough that God will heal you, seek Him more and don't stop um, pray. Uh, don't stop praying and let God be God into your life. And because He is a God who heals every wound. So, as I was saying, Bartimaeus, he is a desperate man. He was, um, he was a desperate man. He was a persistent man. He never stops. Nothing and no one was going to stop him from doing all he could to get the attention of Jesus. That's the point. He is desperate enough to get the attention of Jesus. Did you do that already? Have you done that already? Or if not yet, I tell you, be desperate enough that the attention of the Lord will turn to you. For Bartimaeus, it was now or never. For Bartimaeus, it was now or never. Jesus did stop. Amen. Jesus did stop because he never stopped to get attention of Jesus. So Jesus did stop. He did really stop. And right now, if you if you is desperate enough and the Lord did stop, what would you feel? What would you do? Why did Jesus stop? Because he heard the cry of this blind beggar. He heard the cry of this blind beggar. In what way? In our situation right now, in this generation, in what way would Jesus hear our cry? In our pleas, in our plea unto Him, in our prayer. Amen. He responded to the shout of desperation. Jesus responded to the shout of desperation. Then he surprisingly asked what seems to be a dumb question. Maybe this is a dumb question. Jesus knew that this is a blind beggar, but why would Jesus ask this question? And what this question is? So the question is, what do you want me to do to you? What do you want me to do to you? Think about it. What would a blind beggar possibly want from Jesus? Just thinking about it. Jesus knew that he's a blind beggar. Physically, he can see it. You as well. You knew the Lord knows your situation right now. But why is it that we have to pray specifically unto God? Why? Let's make this question personal. So, let's make this question personal. What do you want Jesus do to you? What do you want Jesus to do for you? if you were Bartimaeus, or like in this generation right now, like in our time right now, if this question is personal, what do you want Jesus to do for you? Is he bandage when what you really need is spiritual surgery? Is he nothing more than an ecclesiastical bellhop that you expect to be available at your beck and call? Is he like Jolly and Saint Nick searching for good boys and girls give toys to? Is that what you're thinking? Why are you desperate? Let me ask you, why are you desperate? Do you have a specific answer to that question? I've met believers who get desperate only when they get in a pinch. No, once you have a problem, once you are in a situation that you don't know what to do, that's the time that you will just desperate enough to seek the Lord. But how about in your victory, in your success? Amen. They make all kinds of promises to God, but when they get out of the bind, they go back to their old ways. Okay, this is an example. The time that you haven't encountered or had a divine appointment with the Lord. Then, um, time comes that you encounter the Lord, or you join a divine appointment, or you had a divine appointment with the Lord. You give a covenant unto God. You make a promise to the Lord. That, Lord, starting today, I will worship you. I will serve you with all my heart. I will give thanks to you. I surrender my life unto you. Um, you will lead me starting today. Um, every decision that I make, it depends on you alone, oh God. Maybe you made a covenant, a promise unto the Lord. Lord, my life is to you alone. I give everything unto you, Lord. Starting today, you are my God. But what happened after the Lord give you success, give you victory, you become rich, powerful, you own a business, you, you graduated, you have a new job, um, your salary worth 100,000 or more, or maybe less. But the time that comes, you forgot the Lord. You forgot the promises that you made to the Lord, the covenants that you have made. Their promises are fleeting. Their interest in the Lord are temporary. You are interested to the Lord because you are in that situation that you don't know what to do. You need God to help you to get out of that thing. So they want what God can do for them. They want what God can do for them, but they don't really want Him. Maybe you just want the Lord, what God can give you, but you don't really want God. You don't really want Him. You just want Him because He can do this, but you don't really want Him to make a relationship with Him, to be intimate with Him, to be with God forever. If Jesus asked you what you want, would you want the right thing? If Jesus would ask you, is it Him that you want? Is it Him that you want? Or merely the gifts from His hand? Mark's Gospel records James and John being asked this same question in Mark 10:36. James and John are asked in this question. They came boldly to Jesus, arrogantly you might say, demanding that He give them whatever they asked of Him. James and John foolishly asked to sit on His right and left hand. in positions of power. Jesus rebuked them, reminding them that greatness and power come from being a servant. Amen. James and John had a lot to learn about Jesus and the cross life. Jesus rebuked the attitude that seeks selfish gain. Amen. Let me say it again. Jesus rebuked the attitude that seeks selfish gain. Jesus rebukes the attitude that seeks selfish gain. We live in a time when more and more believers are giving the wrong answers to the questions Jesus is asking. If Jesus were to pass by and ask, if Jesus were to pass by and ask, what do you want me to do for you? If Jesus will pass by right now to you, right now, at this moment, if Jesus will pass by and he will ask you, what do you want me to do for you? Most of our answers would be self-centered. Maybe most of our answers will be self-centered. I would imagine the average believer would say something like, I'd like to find the right mate. Maybe that's what your answer is. Or, I'd like to get out of debt. Lord, I want to get out of debt. Or, Lord, I'd like to win the lottery. Or, I'd like to have a new car. I really want a car. My friends have a car, but me, I don't have any car. Lord, I want to have a new car. Lord, um, they get married. Most of my batchmates, they have their partners already. I want to find my mate. I like to have a life free from pain and suffering. Lord, I want to become healthy. I don't want to suffer rather. I, I want to have a life free from pain. I want to get out of this family that I have right now. I want to get rich, or I'd like to own my own company. Unfortunately, most of our answers would have um, unfortunately, most of our answers would have little or nothing to do with the glory of God in our lives. I don't know what's your answer to my question. What, or if Jesus passed by to you, what would your answer be? Maybe, but it's not for the glory of God. Only desperate people, the title itself, the title of um, this words of encouragement are a reminder, a warning to each one of us. Only desperate people get to the point where it's not about them, but it's about the Lord. Only desperate people get to the point where it's not about them, it's not about ourselves, but it's about the Lord. Amen. Amen. I can read your mind right now. You say, but Bartimaeus made a selfish request. But Bartimaeus made a selfish request. He said, Lord, heal me. I'm glad you brought that up. No, I'm glad that you brought it up. If you read the story, you find Jesus told him to go on his way. If you read this passage in the Bible about Bartimaeus asking God to heal him, um, Jesus told Bartimaeus to go on his way, but he followed. But he followed Jesus. He didn't go to his way where he can see already. He wants to explore the world. Oh, this is what a beautiful world. For how many years I've been blind, but now I can see where he can forget God. He can leave God. He can leave Jesus. But what he did is he followed Jesus. How about you? Would you follow Jesus once he answer, once he give you the answer to the questions he throw to you? Having been delivered, he chose to be a disciple. As being a sinner, a wicked person before, as we encountered the Lord, as we have our deliverance, do you chose to be a disciple? Or after, like, after you had your encounter or your divine appointed to the Lord, after that a few days, you want to become a disciple of the Lord, but time comes by, you forgot God, and you didn't carry the cross, because the Lord said that carry the cross to those who follow Him. He walked out of Jericho with the Lord. Bartimaeus walked out to the Jericho with the Lord. Amen. This COVID-19 will walk out with the Lord. Amen. Where where was Jesus headed? Where is Jesus headed? To the cross. I'm convinced God will answer your prayer of desperation if in your answer Jesus is glorified and the cross is magnified. God will answer your prayer of desperation if in your answer Jesus is glorified and the cross is magnified. Amen. Amen. So that is just a short encouragement, a warning, a motivation to each one of us, to all the disciples of God, to all the leaders in the church, and even to those who haven't encountered the Lord or don't have any relationship with the Lord. Hopefully that this is, we can evaluate ourselves with this one. And thank you so much for listening and watching this video, and hopefully that if you are blessed, you want to bless others as well. So you can like and subscribe so that you can see the next videos that will come, and like, subscribe and share also. God bless everyone, and shalom and shalom.